Hi friends, hope everybody is fine, and today welcome back to my channel with a new topic that is about transactional analysis. Transactional analysis is a very interesting topic, and it was actually introduced by Eric Berne in 1950s and later popularized by Thomas Harris in 1960s, right? So this particular analysis it assumes that all the individuals have three different ego states, okay, which represents their psychological positions or behavioral patterns, okay, with which they can communicate and interact with one another. These ego states are developed on the basis of beliefs, feelings, and experiences accumulated by an individual over a period of time. Right? So, let us jump into the topic. So, if it is actually a model for explaining that why people think, okay, in a way, why people act like they do, okay, why how people interact and communicate with others. So basically it is related to brain, the our psychology, okay. Our brain determines that what we think and how we act, okay. So we act like a tape recorder while recording, fine. Then obviously whatever our brain tells us, we do that, okay, we act according to that. So this is the process, how the process in the brain goes, okay. So now there are three distinct parts or ego states each and every one of us is having, okay. These are parent, adult, and child. So all three are having different kinds of uh, characteristics, fine. And all of us at certain time we behave with a different kind of ego states, means at one time sometime we behave as a parent, okay. Our ego is when we are in the state of parent ego state, so our ego is like in the state of parent ego, where the behavior is like your parents do, okay. We behave as parent figures, okay. Then the other one is adult ego state and the third one is child ego state. So what actually the theorists and people believe, that in any organization you behave in the way your ego states tells you to, okay. So let us jump more into it. So parent ego state are actually two types, okay. There are two types of parent ego states. One is nurturing parent, and the other one is critical parent. So nurturing parent is, you must have seen that our parents, when if they nurture, when they are into this state, so they will take care of us, okay. They will give us affection, and they will have a caring view about ourselves, and they will be supportive to us, they will be sympathetic. So as in the same way in the organization, when you have a boss or you have another person, okay, or you yourself, you are behaving in such a way with some other person, so means you are guided with a nurturing parent ego state. Whereas if we go for critical parent ego, so it is it is very tough for others to adjust with a critical parent ego state. If I have, or the others are going through the critical parent ego state, they will find faults with the others, they will be judgmental, and they will have a attitude of that you should not do, you ought not do, okay, you should never do this, fine. They will have, all their views will not be based on any logic or facts, okay. It will be baseless, logic without logic, senseless, but still they will have prejudices, they will have differences, and they will always tell you don't do this, don't do that. Okay, so it is critical parent ego state. Now when we come to adult ego states, okay, so in adult ego state what happens that when a person is in this state, he makes decisions based on logic. Okay, and this kind of behavioral pattern is found to be very good because in this behavioral patterns a person first analyzes all the data, analyzes all the facts, and then behaves. So this is a wonderful ego state for any person to have. Okay, so sometimes in the organization when we find a person who is having this kind of ego state, so obviously we'll find him very cooperative and very serious and very understanding. Okay, so this is the adult ego state. Now when we come to child ego state, so child ego state is obviously like child, when you behave like a child. Well, how is a child? A child is curious and child is eager to please others, and a child is always naughty, sometimes becomes angry also, impulsive also. Okay, so in the same way all of us, each one of us, are in this state sometimes or always. Okay, so the person who have the people who have this kind of ego state as their dominant ego, or sometimes when this ego state is there, so obviously they will be very what do you say, very energetic. Okay, very interactive, since the children are always energy, they are full of energy. Okay, full of curiosity, and they will be they would love to do the work which is related to entertainment. They would always love to do the work that is related to sports. Okay, that is pleasure seeking. Okay, so uh, that is all about child ego state. Now if we come to the human interaction. Okay, so in this we talk about what is a transaction. A transaction is any interaction or communication between two people. People send and receive messages out of and into their different ego states. Okay, so there are different three types of communications, or you can say interactions, or you can say transactions, which are complementary, okay, cross transactions, and ulterior transactions. Now see, in complementary transactions what happens that these interactions are regarded as appropriate and expected, means these are good. If this kind of transactions happen in any organization, these are good. Now see, in these transactions, if there are two employees, this is the supervisor and this is the employee. Okay, if both of them are having in the adult ego state, so obviously it will be very good communication and appropriate. Okay, then talking about the cross transaction, so these are the responses actions which are not regarded as appropriate, okay, for another person. In this what happens, one person, the supervisor may be in his child ego state, and the employee may be in his parent ego state. So it becomes difficult for the boss, for the employee to make the boss understand, because obviously the boss is having a stubborn behavior, is in his child ego state. Okay, so this kind of transactions are cross transactions. And now when we talk of ulterior transactions, these are the interactional responses which are different from those stated. Okay, so means whatever the person has stated, he doesn't actually do that. Okay, so these are those transactions, and these are obviously not appropriate if they happen within an organization. Now how do we use transaction analysis when it comes to selling something, okay, in business? So it is like that you have to develop a selling strategy for parent, adult, and child customers. You will find all three kinds of customers. Okay, and the best communication exchange for selling is to remember to respond in a complimentary manner. And what was the ego state that was in complementary manner? It was adult ego state. Fine. So adult ego state is preferred everywhere as a good ego state. Okay. Then what interactions are important while you are selling, okay, while you are into marketing or into your business? First, you should compliment, okay, verbally everybody. You should pat on the back and you can handshake, okay. So that is very important to greet somebody. Or you can and with that you can give that person a gift. And the best part is that you need to be a good listener. So this is all about transactional analysis. Hope you understood all the ego states, and I think you will apply it in your real life, and you will find out with your that with your situations that in which of the ego states you are behaving into. Okay. And obviously this will prove to be a very good learning for finding about your own self. Thank you. Bye bye.